Welcome back. Well, in a significant development on the global stage, the Group of 20, that's comprised of the world's 20 leading economies, has extended an invitation to the African Union to become a permanent member. Well, let's gauge the expected impact now with Mr. Oladipo Ajayi as a head fixed income, Chapel Hill Denham. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Good morning, Ladi. Thank you for having me here.
Good afternoon. Well, what is the significance of the African Union becoming a permanent member of the G20, both for Africa and for the broader international community?
Well, I think for broader international community, Africa is bringing a young population of about 1.2 trillion onto the table. And we all know that for any economy to actually develop, you need strength of the youth, and also you need other factors. And one of the reasons why we tend to see a lot of countries opening their doors for most Africans to actually come in is because of the fact that you need young people to actually grow your economy. And most developed nations are already aging population. So Africa is bringing young population to the table. And aside that, Africa is actually rich in natural resources. And these are some of the things that Africa is currently bringing to the table. And I think that's one of the reasons why the G20 are actually excited to actually have the bloc of Africa on board. On the part of the G20, what do they bring to the table to Africa? And that's also very key now. I think that you are talking to a group that are currently, they control about 85% of the global GDP. And in terms of international trade, they actually control about 75% of international trade. And currently, the population of the G20 is about 65% of the global population. And by the time you have the African bloc on it, it means that it's taken into very close to 80% of the global population. So it tells you that that is where decisions are made. It tells you that it's on that table that decisions are taken that could either mark or make the life of people in Africa. And having Africa on board is actually very good to hear you, because what it means is that you are party to decision making now. So it means that no one can just take decisions that will, at the end of the day, have negative impact on your jurisdiction. So I think it's a very good one, and it's a win-win for both parties.
And how do you see, this impacting how African countries get loans from international financial institutions? We know the AU has complained about the, high cost, for African countries, trying to borrow, now leading to that issue of debt trap in Africa.
I think the admittance of Africa to the table means that Africa is now becoming part of the power bloc globally. And if you know, before now, Africa has been one of the zone, the signature of all eyes. Everybody wants to be part of, want to be friends with Africans. We saw how the United States were we saw what China also trying to penetrate Africa. We've seen in the recent past how Russia too are trying to actually make an impact in Africa now, and also France is also doing the same. And one of the things why everyone is actually looking at Africa is because of the benefits that Africa actually can bring to the table. Like I mentioned earlier on, Africa has actually rich in natural resources. And part of the problem of Africa is the fact that we actually export these natural resources rather than allowing most of these foreign guys to actually situate business in African zone that will further create employment and also better the life of Africans. And the fact that we are now on the table means that most of the international banks will now reckon with us on a better ground than the way they used to. And another thing also is that Africa needs to speak in one voice. We need to actually speak to this thing, to this situation as one. It means that whatever the EU is saying, it has to be what every member country is also abiding with. And I remember sometimes EU also complained about the rating agencies, that they actually bias in the way that which they actually undo the ratings for African countries. And to some extent, I think they are right, because you tend to see the rating of some of African countries, and you wonder how come, and when you can actually see other developed nations that are also in the same shoe getting a better rating than Africa. But with one voice, it gives us a better bargaining power to actually be able to speak with international financial institutions And like you actually rightly mentioned, it gives a very good room for target a greater depth and also better rates.
All right, definitely. We'll keep tracking our development with this new addition. Thank you so much, Mr. Oladipo Ajayi, head fixed income, Chapel Hill Denham. It's great having your perspective today.
You're welcome, bro.